Hello everyone, it's another beautiful day and I'm really happy and excited to welcome you to your favorite health program on television, Talking Health with Dr. Laz. We are reaching you on your channel of choice, the Africa Independent Television, AIT. My name is Dr. Laz Eze. On this program last week, I talked with a service provider, a specialist in obstetrics and gynecology, about methods of family planning as well as the importance of family planning. But because of the importance of this topic to the family and the society, we feel is very relevant that we continue our conversation on it and focusing more on the programmatic aspect of the topic. If you missed the show last week, please feel free to check our social media handles displayed on your screen to watch and catch up with it. And you will Talk Health Nigeria on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as Talk Health Nigeria TV on YouTube. From the questions and the comments and the reactions that we got, and we felt it's imperative that we speak more around this topic, and that's why we're here. Another expert will be joining us today to talk on the policy and programmatic aspects of family planning. This will help provide more insight on the actions that we take and the actions that we also need to take as a country. It is no longer news that the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly reduced the number of people going to health facilities or the number of persons going to hospitals to seek medical care. This has caused a significant reduction in the uptake of family planning services, which can potentially reverse the minimal progress we've made in the recent past. In recognition of these adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the United Nations is encouraging every member country to put the brakes on COVID-19 and explore ways to safeguard the health and rights of our women and girls without any delay. How do we make this happen in Nigeria? Let me share some quick facts before the conversation begins. Nigeria has the 7th largest population in the world, with a population of more than 200 million people. By 2050, the United Nations projects that Nigerian population will rise to become the 3rd highest in the world, with a population of more than 400 million people, passing Brazil and the United States, if we continue to grow at the current population growth rate. Nigeria's population growth rate is 2.2%, according to the National Demographic and Health Survey conducted in 2018. While our economic growth rate, measured as GDP growth rate, in first quarter of 2020 is 1.87%. This means that our population is growing much faster than our economy. Despite the rapid population growth, 64% of Nigerian women between ages of 15 and 45 years of age said in a national survey that they did not have need for family planning. And of the 36% who said yes, they need family planning, only 17% of them could have access to these services. How can Nigeria increase the uptake of family planning services? How can we optimize the availability of these services amid the COVID-19 pandemic that have disrupted and further weakened the health sector? We'll be taking a short break, and after that, we are going to get answers to these questions and other insights from a public health expert with rich experience in reproductive, maternal, and child health, Dr. Amina Dorayi. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media handles at Talk Health Nigeria on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also Talk Health Nigeria TV on YouTube. They are all displayed on your screen. Feel free to share your views, ask questions, and put up your opinions during and after the program. Do stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Talking Health with Dr. Laz on your channel of choice, the Africa Independent Television, AIT. I'll be taking you to Dr. Amina Dorayi, a health development specialist who will be talking to us about some of these issues. She is also a country director of Pathfinder International in Nigeria. I'm here with our guest, our special guest today, who you must have seen a lot of time because of the extent of advocacy she does on various health issues. Dr. Amina Dorayi, she's a health development expert with extensive experience, promoting women and girls' rights. Amina Dorayi is also the country director of Pathfinder International in Nigeria. It's my pleasure to be with you, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. COVID-19 has further stressed our health system, and the number of areas where we've been struggling, and one of those areas is in family planning. So the previous week we talked with a family planning provider who talked from the provider's perspective how COVID-19 has affected care. But looking at it from a systemic perspective, in 1990, 27% of Nigerian women within the reproductive age of 15 to 45 years of age, said that they needed family planning. 30 years later, that number has only increased by 9%, only 36%. The other 64% felt they don't need family planning. But out of the 36% that said that they needed it, only 17% have access to it. So 9% in 30 years period, despite a whole lot of investment of government, donor partners, civil society organization, advocacy. Why are we moving so slowly? Why the snail speed in terms of progress in the area of family planning uptake?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Laz. I think this is a very important question, and one that I've also been working on for many years in my career. So you see, from 1990 till date, as you said, there has not been a marked improvement in our contraceptive prevalence rate, especially for modern methods, which means that the women that utilize family planning, the percentage is quite low, and access to, is an issue. But the main thing is also the demand, as you say, many women are not even interested in using family planning. So I look at this more as a systemic issue in addition to being an issue about just family planning. On a broader level, health in general for Nigeria, we have not really prioritized the health sector. That's the truth of the matter, because health is on the concurrent list, of government, which means that, local and state governments can decide to include health as part of their priorities or not. So that is it. Let's look at it even at the top level of decision making. We have issues with prioritizing the health sector. But secondly, also at an individual level, what we have seen is that women and clients in general, the trust in the health system is really an issue. Because, most of the time when they need every other service, including family planning service, they do not get what they want. So you see that in addition to also the women that use modern methods of family planning, you see that some women actually prefer to use traditional methods, mostly because they wouldn't even want to come to the facility for one thing or the other. We haven't tried in the quality of services that we provide. What do I mean? First, looking at even our infrastructure is, dilapidated. So not only that women would come for family planning and they will be in a facility where they are happy, they will really, it's a big challenge for them. Commodities, we have an issue of commodities. So for instance, if they want to use family planning methods, which ones should they use and are they even available? So our supply chain needs to also be much better in terms of reviewing our supply chain. But another major thing for me is that, you see, there's a lot of word of mouth in terms of services that are being provided. And because, family planning as a whole health system approach, there's myths and misconceptions about side effects, about even the effectiveness of family planning methods, even about, why, they should actually use family planning in the first place. So in terms of demand, we have seen that, because family planning is an individual choice and also a community and a couple choice, we have not done well in communicating the impact and the benefits of family planning. For instance, you can see clearly from the data, as you said, that, many women, they know about family planning methods, but they do not really understand even their bodies. Because more than 60% of women do not really understand how their bodies work. For instance, where is the fertile period? So they do not know too much. So I think that the health sector, at the health system level, we have not done well in prioritizing health, funding health itself, and also the health workers at the facility level. Yes, so at the facility level, the quality of services we provide is not, at par with most developing or developed countries. And then at the community level, awareness creation. We have the National Communication, FP Communication Plan with the green dot. Yes, but how many of our communities 2 years ago? But this is what we know it at the at the level of the professional level and the ministry and program level. But we are still not able to really take these things down to the level of the community for them to understand the benefits of family planning.
For the benefit of our viewers, that green dot, because for the public to be able to see the green dot and identify that, family planning services is being provided there. So how would they identify that green dot?
So, in facilities now, ideally, most primary healthcare facilities and secondary healthcare facilities that provide quality family planning services. So it's not only about, providing family planning services, also the quality. So ideally, that green dot should be like an identifier to say, we have family planning services in these facilities, and we also provide quality based on a standard that the government has, put in place. So we need to be sure that those facilities have, all what it takes in terms of the quality, so that when that green dot, it's just a green dot, when they see it, yes, and they see that green dot, it means, yes, it is actually on the wall. Sometimes it's even in, as you're going there in, just on top of the building, just in the entrance, some of them have that green dot. Yes, so, and also in, some different parts of the facility too, they will have the green dot. So yes, it's supposed to be there, but I think we need to have more awareness creation, around it, and around even the benefits generally of family planning.
Talking about that, you mentioned it requires a couple decision, but we also know that not only married people that will require contraceptive services, young people may also need that to prevent unplanned pregnancies and even sexually transmitted infections in some cases. So awareness has been very low, everybody, because those who are becoming parents, if they knew about contraception, they knew about their body when they were young, as parents, they will have the information and pass it on to their children. So there's been argument around the family life and health education, which is, the one that the government of Nigeria currently approves to be taught to students while in school. And in that family life and health education, you cannot even mention condom. The only contraceptive or family planning method that is allowed is abstinence. So a lot of persons feel comprehensive sexuality education that have the entire spectrum of information that is appropriate for age, should be taught in school. Do you agree with such suggestions?
Yeah, so Dr. Laz, thank you. It's actually, as you say, a very interesting and debatable discussion. But, from our end at the program level, at the professional level, you and I know that children, even from the age of 9, 10 sometimes, have all the information they need in their fingertips, that is using a phone. If any child uses a phone, or they have friends that use phones, for me, it's just like they have already known everything that has to do with, sexuality education.
Right and wrong.
The right and wrong. So I just believe that, probably it is in, good faith that, most of the education is, trying to protect the young people from knowing so much about, comprehensive sexuality and about their bodies. But in my view, it is much better for us to give them the appropriate knowledge and for them to make the appropriate decisions, and accurately at that matter. So giving comprehensive sexuality education is about giving accurate information, the appropriate information, and all they need to know at that age, in terms of to make their decision on, their sexuality. So for me, I think if we do not, take that charge as a community, at the maybe system level, to say we're going to start this in schools and maybe incorporate more details about the comprehensive sexuality issues, then there's going to be a vacuum, and that vacuum will be filled by any information they come across on phone, on social media, with their friends, and they may not be the accurate information. So it's better to give them the accurate information that allow them in this global community to just go, all out and, read things and, visualize things and start thinking about what, they may not even be thinking about if you had really, helped them to standardize this information, and also to help them to make better decisions for their sexuality.
That sounds great. Is there any role for communities in this case that has to do with awareness creation? Every local government is supposed to have a health educator who is supposed to galvanize different communities to use the language that people understand. But this is not the case in a lot of local governments across the country. So in the absence of those health educators, or even if they are available where they don't play these roles, what can community structures or even religious structures do?
Good. Yeah, so I think what I have come to actually agree to or believe in the recent times is that the community is the basic unit of every decision that is being made, in our country and in every other country, really. So the community has a huge role to play in disseminating the appropriate information, because most of those community structures are already in existence. It's just to use those structures to kind of, train them also on, how to orient, their community members. And then because they are more trusted, if you and I go to some communities that we are not really well known, they may not want to listen to us. And in some cases, they will think, oh, these people are bringing ideas that are alien, foreign ideas, so they will trust those that they live with and those that they see every day. A long time ago in this country, communities were in charge of everything. They took care of children. Every child was the community child, for instance. So I think we need to use those structures there. We have women groups, we have other community-based organizations that are existing. Religious leaders, as you say, they have a huge role to play, because if we want to be serious about family planning, about development, so it's not really about family planning, it's about development and sustainable development, which is very much linked to family planning because of the demographic dividend, because of the population that we have that is really more dependent than the population that we should have, that is more of a productive population.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dorayi, for those insightful responses. We feel like continuing non-stop, but we have to take another break. And when we return, we are going to talk more about how Nigeria can meet its own target of having 27% of women or reproductive age group have access to family planning services. Do stay with us, but don't forget to make your opinion known and ask questions on our social media handles that are right there displayed on your screen, and let the conversation continue. We will surely respond to you. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talking Health with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television. I've been speaking with Dr. Amina Dorayi, the country director of Pathfinder International, and we've been talking about family planning and how Nigeria can increase its uptake, especially during this period of COVID-19 pandemic. Coming back to you, Dr. Dorayi, at the beginning, you made reference to traditional methods, modern methods. I'm sure our viewers will be wondering which methods are traditional, which ones are modern. Okay. So perhaps you briefly talk to us about that.
So thank you very much, Dr. Laz. So, of course, we have two types of family planning, both the traditional and the modern methods, and even each of them, is subclassified, but I won't really go into it. But the traditional methods are those methods that we do not use mainly, should I say, modern either reagents or supplies to really use them. For instance, they are mainly using the body temperature and also using probably the vaginal discharge, and also there's some cycle beads that they use to also count the number of days, between cycles.
Okay, so for those that do traditional, this is what they use to try to know.
And their temperature.
Okay.
And their, discharge, the type of discharge that they have, vaginal discharge. So there are many methods, but they just depend on the dates of your menstrual cycle.
How effective is that?
So that's a very good question. You see, it is the traditional methods. The challenge with them is that they are mostly ineffective, especially when they are not used correctly. Because so using the NDHS, the survey, it is even known that those women in reproductive age that were surveyed, more than 60% of them did not know anything about their menstrual cycle and when they were safe and when they were not safe, when they should have sexual intercourse with their spouses.
So it's highly subjective. So
it's very subjective.
What about the failure rate?
It also depends on spousal consent, because some of them, like the coitus interruptus, which is the withdrawal method, also depends on the the partnership between the female and the male. So
I can imagine that could even be a source of disputes.
Be a source of disputes. So it has a high failure rate, and it also has, the effectiveness is very low. So if women want to really delay or space their children, the use of traditional methods may not be the best for them, especially if they are not really very well versed about their anatomy and the various days that they should be termed safe.
In other words, you do not recommend traditional methods?
Yes, because of the high failure rate. I do not.
Okay, the modern methods assume some of these.
Modern methods, which are the modern methods. We have the barrier methods. For instance, this is a female condom.
Okay,
and that is
I can see a male condom.
So it is also, their barrier method. And the good thing about these methods is because we call them, they have dual protection, so they can also protect against sexually transmitted infections. So that is in addition to pregnancy. Then we have the injectables. That is an example of that.
Okay, injectables.
Which is, these ones are shorter-term methods. But we have the long-term methods as well, like implants. These are implants.
Okay.
Where
they put it on the skin.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the IUDs. IUDs are, what they used to call loop. They put it in the uterus. So these longer-term methods require, a trained provider, of course, to kind of help, put those things. But they work for a longer period. The IUDs, for instance, can work, for up to 12 years. So it's very non-dependent on, the cycle or the partner or, whatever.
Yes.
The patient is not dependent. So the moment it is put in, one time, then that is it.
Thank you very much for staying with us. I've been speaking with Dr. Amina Dorayi. She's an expert in public health and have worked many years on improvements of reproductive health and rights of women and girls, as well as the country director of Pathfinder International. And she has made a lot of suggestions on how Nigeria can make progress in achieving increased uptake in family planning. It is said that those who fail to plan to fail. And that stresses the importance of planning in everything we do in life. Whether it's business, whether it's school, whether it's our jobs, whether it's personal life, there's no doubt that planning is key to our family and national development. And that's the much we can take today on Talking Health with Dr. Laz, and we're really appreciative of you for staying with us up to this point. Get on social media and follow us on our various handles. Keep the questions coming, make comments, make suggestions, and the conversation will continue there. We are very hopeful that we are going to still see you this time, same station next week. Bye for now.